Make sure to subscribe to our channel, join our Discord, and also follow us on Instagram so you always have the support that you need to really enhance your account and get yourself to the next level. Also, if you stick around until the end of the video, I'm going to show you how you can save a lot of money when you make in-game purchases in The Legend of Mushroom by getting some amazing cashbacks each time you purchase anything. Hello everyone and welcome to another video of the Sky channel. So there was a lot of demand to create new and updated class guides for each of the different classes. So this will be the first of the refreshed guides, focusing on archers, particularly on Plume Monarchs. So if you go through the Plume Monarch, you'll realize that there is a heavy focus on combo. Your active skill reduces the enemy's combo damage res. It also gives you the ability to ignore evasion, and then your passive skills increase your combo chance, increase your attack speed and ignore evasion, increases your combo damage, gives you 3 additional bullets during combos, and then on each normal attack you're actually firing 2 bullets instead of 1. So just by looking at this, you can tell that there is a heavy focus on damage, particularly combo damage. So Plume Monarch is like a glass cannon. It hits hard, it hits fast, but not necessarily the tankiest class out there. Okay, so how can we make the most effective Plume Monarch? And particularly focusing on PvP. That being said, Plume Monarch is actually the best class for PvE as well. So let's start with the equipment. Now when it comes to the Plume Monarch equipment, there are 2 things that you need to know about Plume Monarch. Number 1, as we saw before, combo is very important. Your class is building on combo, so you want to make sure that you have a lot of combo percentage to actually utilize the abilities of your class. That is why in each of your equipment, you definitely need to have a combo chance. Get your combo as high as possible and as close to 100%. The other thing is, since you are such a heavy damage dealer, crit rate can take you really far. Now across the different things, you're actually going to build up on your crit damage as well. But to be most effective, you need to make sure that you are critting very often. And how do you do that? Well, the gear. So maximize your combo percentage, get it as close to 100% as possible, and then your crit chance. Get that as close to 100% as possible as well. Now I know people say that as you get closer to 100%, you're not really getting the biggest bang for your buck, and that's probably true. But I would say that the benefit that you get from having a high combo and crit rate is so high that even though increasing a different stat by a little bit could potentially give you a pretty nice outcome, the heavy reliance on combo and crit damage that you're gonna have in this build makes it definitely worth it for you to just go all out on your combo and crit rate percentage. Get it to 100% and you will be doing combos every single time and critting as well. And of course, as you'll see, we're gonna build up on our combo and crit damage so much that you definitely don't want to have that 5% chance of not doing a combo or crit. So you'll notice that in pretty much every gear that I have, there is going to be crit rate and combo. That's because I wanted to make sure that I'm as close to 100% as possible in each of these attributes. And fun fact, if you look over here, I'm at 99% crit rate and 107.69% combo. Okay, so that's our gear. Let's go to the next one and we are going to talk about our relics. So the first relic, of course, you have to choose between crit rate and combo. And since my combo is already over 100%, the obvious choice is crit rate because combo is also coming from our classes, but crit rate is a little harder to get. And that's why I have the bonded mask to give me that extra crit rate to get it closer to 100%. The second one, I'm using the Thundercaller Kite. And part of the reason is because I don't really have a chicken pal. I don't really use sprite pals, not using the Hydro Sprite and Snail either. And I could use this one because I do have the dragon. But with our ability of being such a heavy damage dealer, I like the Thundercaller Kite more. So every time you use an active skill, it deals a bunch of damage to the enemy. This relic also improves as you level it further. So at level 100, it gets 1480% damage. At lower levels, it's going to be lower damage. This one sort of remains the same same throughout the different levels. Okay, the third relic, I'm using the magic box, and that's again because of the fact that I have a deer pal and it's increasing the deer pal's damage by 27.47% at level 90. Now I know a lot of people recommend the metamorphic crystal because they are using the octopus. I don't really use the octopus because it seems more of a PvE pal versus a PvP pal, and that's why I'm sticking to the magic box because I do have a deer. When it comes to the fourth one, I use the flame book. So at the start of the battle, increase attack by 1% per second up to 10% over 10 seconds. Now I know a lot of people do recommend this other book, the one that gives you damage rares of pretty much all sorts of things by 5%, which is pretty cool as well. And you could choose this as a pretty nice option as well if you are having a tough time surviving. But of course, you are a pretty heavy damage dealer, and having the flame book is also pretty useful because you're increasing your attack by 10%. The fifth relic is the one that actually extends the duration of Disarm, Dazzled, and Smoke Bomb by 50%. The reason I chose this is because I use both Disarm and Smoke Bomb, so getting the extra duration of these two skills is quite helpful for me. It's like a 2-in-1 combo, right? Two of your skills are benefiting from this one relic. The sixth one is a little tricky. I know some people who still use Clone Strike, they prefer the Storm Necklace. I actually don't use this Clone Strike anymore, so I had to use a different relic which could actually help me based on the skills that I use. And well, one of the skills that I use, which you'll see, is Blitz Assault, which is pretty much essential, especially if you're fighting mages, because otherwise they're gonna one-hit kill you due to your low survivability. So why not actually increase the basic attack damage during Blitz Assault? And that's why I have the Spirit Necklace. So the spores, they're two good options here. One of them is this one right here, increases all relics equip effects by 30%. And of course, as you level it further, the effect actually gets better as well. This is a good option given that the other relics are useful to you, but the other good option is the one that gives you damage res of 6.8%, and that's overall damage res. A good option as well. But take a look at this. If I move out of this relic and go to this damage res one, take a look at that. My crit rate went down from about 99% to 96%. And similarly, all the other relic effects are going to be reduced if you don't use that spore. So for now, I'm going to stick to this one to keep my crit rate as high as possible. So that's all about the relics. And since we were talking so much about skills and pals, let's go to our skills and take a look at what I'm using. Okay, some of them you already found out because we were discussing it in the relics. I do use the smoke bomb, which actually deals some damage and then reduces the damage res of targets by 20% for 5 seconds. That is of course helpful because that means that you'll be doing a lot more damage to them during those 5 seconds. The other one is disarm. It does some damage and disarms the targets for 3 seconds plus the extra time you get due to your relic. This is also quite helpful because in the beginning you want to make sure that the enemy is not able to attack you for that duration of time. So disarm can actually take you pretty far. If you don't use disarm, you might find yourself dying really soon, especially as a Plume Monarch. The other one is Blitz Assault, and what it does is that it provides you 3 seconds of damage immunity, which is again essential for your survival. Now you may be wondering, if you have Blitz Assault, why do you even need disarm? And that's a very valid question. Well, first of all, the duration of disarm is actually longer than the duration of Blitz Assault, and secondly, you can actually assign delays in your different skills, and that can be particularly helpful. For example, you could time the disarm to get activated after the Blitz Assault period, hence making sure that after the Blitz Assault damage immunity is gone, that's when you actually disarm the enemy, hence allowing it to be even more effective. How does that work? Well, you go in here, you click that clock thing, and you can actually choose to add a certain amount of delay to the disarm to make sure that first Blitz Assault hits and then disarm hits. And let's do that right now. So remember, active skill 3 is disarm, so we're going to go here, active skill 3, we're going to add a 3-second delay, and what that will make sure is that first the Blitz Assault gets hit at the start of the battle, and then the disarm is going to disarm the enemy, helping you keep the enemy unable to do damage to you for a longer period of time. Back to the skills, I also use the 100 slashes. Now you may be wondering, isn't this a skill for warriors? Well, technically, yeah. When the devs created these different skills, there's a different skill that goes for archers, and this was the one that was technically supposed to be for warriors, but actually it is quite helpful for archers as well. And why is that so? Well, first of all, you gain 20% 100% basic attack damage res, which is good to have. And then you also gain 0.5% attack bonus based on your current HP for 5 seconds. Now, the way I think it works is that the higher your HP, the more attack you get. And this is the reason why I actually use it. Basic attack damage res is cool, but of course you are a very heavy hitter. So being able to get this attack bonus makes it quite worth it. And finally, the other skill that I use is a speed surge, which is a blue skill, and you might be wondering why I am using a blue skill. Well, actually, the reason is because it increases the attack speed by 30% for 5 seconds. Attack speed increases the number of attacks you can do per second, which is of course very helpful. And as you will see soon, there is a lot of synergy when it comes to attack speed, and that's why maximizing it is very helpful. Now, what are some of the skills that I'm not using? Well, first of all, Clone Strike. And the reason is because a lot of the times you are under Blitz Assault and people can't actually harm you, but your clone isn't immune to damage, so it ends up dying before the Blitz Assault wears off, making it almost completely useless. So while Clone Strike was extremely helpful in the beginning of the game, now it's starting to lose its benefits, especially when it comes to PvP. The Whirly Snare. Now this is actually something that I consider a good skill. It's just that I don't have space to put it in, because I'll have to remove something else to add the Whirly Snare. It increases crit rate by 10% for the skill duration, and then for every 1% crit rate it gains 3% crit damage, and it lasts for 5 seconds. As you can tell, this would be something that I really like, but of course it's only a 5-second duration with a 24-second cooldown, so there are pros and cons of using it, and for now I'm actually not using it, even though I think it is a very good skill to use. I'm also not using the Windborne Arrow, and this never seemed to really perform well for some reason. I think it has something to do with the 100% damage being a base 100% damage that doesn't actually get amplified by any other bonuses. Regardless, it never really seemed to do much damage to the enemy, so I stopped using it. The Wild Gust is also helpful. It increases your attack and does some damage, so it could be helpful as well, but there isn't enough space to use it either. That's it for our skills, so let's go to our pals. First off, the Hero Bird. And what does it do? It gives attack speed, and we just talked about it. Attack speed is very helpful. Next up, the Bunny, and what it does is that it increases your crit rate by 5%, which is quite helpful because you want to have a very high crit rate so that you can do more damage. It also has the other ability that the Bunny's attacks have a 30% chance to launch targets for 0.5 seconds, which is helpful as well because it's disabling the enemy from being able to do damage to you for that period. What else? The Righteous Banana, increasing your combo chance by 10% and combo damage by 100%. Of course, a must-have, as you can see, increasing your combo chance and combo damage, which is quite helpful. The Treasure Dragon, and the reason why I have that is because of the increase in basic attack crit damage by 50%. And remember I said we're going to be focusing on increase and crit damage? Well, this is one of the ones that actually helps. Even though this is purely focusing on basic attack crit damage, it is still quite helpful. Not to mention, there is also an increase in skill crit rate by 20%, which is also helpful because you are releasing skills as a Plume Monarch as well, so why not crit there too? Finally, the Deer, and the Deer gives us a 15% damage res, which is also very helpful because it helps you live a little bit longer. What are some of the interesting pals that I'm not using? Well, first of all is the Pirate Octopus. As I mentioned before, it's nice. It has an extra combo damage, and then every 3 combos it deals an extra 60% current combo damage, and you're gonna have a pretty high combo damage. However, it seemed to be showing more impact in PvE than PvP. And of course, since I have a limited number of pals to use, this one doesn't get used. The Tortoise is good too. Again, it focuses on survivability by giving you this extra shield. Survivability is never really one of our primary focuses as a Plume Monarch, and hence I don't really use this despite it being fairly helpful. Now when it comes to the class awakenings, this is how I like to do it. So you can see a heavy focus on global attack, crit damage, and combo and basic attack damage as well. But I also have a very slight focus on global defense and global health as well, because as you keep leveling up these awakening seals, it gets more and more expensive to level them further. So I decided to pick a little bit of global health and on global defense as well. The one that isn't prioritized much at all is the crit resistance seal. Now, I know other top players have different perspectives, and I know one of the top players in our server, they went extremely high on the global attack. So their global attack seal was the highest level, and then the crit damage seal was similarly high, just that global attack was even more prioritized in the crit damage, and the rest were all level 5. They believe that the basic attack damage and combo damage seal doesn't give a lot of benefit either, so they focused completely on global attack and crit damage. The best thing is that you have multiple sets, so you can actually try out both and see which one works best for you. When it comes to the fruit bonuses, I actually focus completely on global combo damage. And you can see I have SSS plus, all of them global combo damage. Now you must be wondering, why don't I have a few of those global attacks in there as well? And the reason is that the amount of global combo damage you get from the fruit bonuses goes up to 100% each row. When it comes to global attack, you get about 25% each row. In my opinion, the benefit you get from global combo damage through fruit bonuses is actually higher than what you get from global attack. Now you can get 10% global attack every time you unlock certain mounts, wings, or artifacts. But if you are unlocking a mount, wing, or artifact that has global combo damage, you're only getting 5%. In other words, in certain areas, you actually get a good ROI. And when it comes to global combo damage, you're getting the best ROI in the fruit bonuses. When it comes to the mounts and artifacts and wings, you'll notice that you get the better ROI focusing on global attack as opposed to global combo damage. And of course, other than that, the obvious thing is that you are focusing heavily on doing a lot of combos, so increasing your combo damage to really high amounts is very helpful. And fruit bonuses is where I get a ton of my global combo damage from. When it comes to the mounts, I obviously try to upgrade the mounts and get it to higher tiers as much as possible. That's a given. I don't think there should be any doubt about that. But when it comes to our advanced mount, I'm currently using the Panda. And that's because of the fact that it gives control immunity, allowing you to actually skip the initial disarm that the enemy might have, which can be quite helpful as well. It also boosts attack, which is again very helpful. You want to have as much attack as possible, and grants you damage resistance as well. Again, quite helpful to help you live a little bit longer. So the Panda is a pretty nice mount to have. Though I would argue that if you bought the Cheetah Zero, that is still one of the most overpowered mounts out there, and I find it really hard to beat anyone that has a Cheetah Zero in the cross-server arena. They might be weaker than me, but well, they're gonna have a cheetah come out and pretty much destroy whatever health I have left, and it is quite broken. So if you have the Cheetah Zero, definitely use that. The amount of damage that you do once your HP goes to 0 is insane, and it will beat the Panda any day. If you don't have either of them, well, you could stick to the Blue Ox. It's still helpful because of the fact that it gives damage res and shortens the duration of control effects by 30%. Still a good mount to be using. In terms of the empowerment, well, you don't really have a choice. You can see that for me, it keeps on increasing the skill damage for some reason, even though skill is kind of like the lowest priority for me. It also increases the pal damage quite a lot, which is also a low priority. And of course, as you can imagine, the thing that it levels up the least is the stuff that I need the most. Basic attack damage and combo damage only at level 59. Next up, artifacts. Of course, try to increase them and get them to higher levels because there is a lot of bonuses that you get from your artifacts. Soon I'm going to get it to level 61, which is going to be a pretty big game changer for me. When it comes to the special artifacts, well, the Beast Roar Bow, in my opinion, is one of the best ones out there for PvP. Not only does it give a flat 20% crit rate, which is one of the reasons why my crit rate was actually all that high, it actually increases final crit damage by 1% every time you crit. And I crit quite a lot actually because of my high crit rate. And it lasts until the end of battle, stacking up to 20 times. So 20% increase in final crit damage, which is absolutely insane. Upon reaching maximum stacks, each crit has a 10% chance to deal a ton of damage to the enemy, which can actually crit as well. And this is huge because it does a lot of damage and it does it very often because again, I crit very often. So that 10% chance every time I crit is a pretty good chance. And you can always see a rain of arrows falling whenever there's any PvP battle or especially PvE using the Beast Roar Bow. In PvE, it's even more helpful because this is area effect damage. So it essentially destroys all of the mobs that are trying to get to you with a ton of this damage. So my choice for the artifact is still the Beast Roar Bow. But of course, perhaps you didn't actually buy it because it was quite expensive, then you might as well get the Chaotic Warlord's Hammer from the Lucky Spinner when it appears. Now this you can get for free as long as you are collecting the coins every single week. Get 500 and then when it appears, do get the hammer, because the hammer actually gives you an ability to do 30% extra area effect damage with each basic attack and combo, which is quite helpful because, well, if you don't have the Warlord's Hammer, you don't have a special artifact, so you're basically missing out on this flat. Not to mention you get a 10% global basic attack damage, which is good to have, while the Beast Roar Bow was giving 10% global attack, which is of course really cool. Now when you talk about the artifacts and enchantments, you're gonna notice that I have a huge focus on global combo damage wherever I can get it, right? So in the first one, you can see pink global combo damage giving me 17.25%. In the second one, again, pink global combo damage giving me 19%. In the third one, again, there's global basic attack damage and global combo damage. The global combo is 5.67. The basic attack is 12.84. The fourth one, I made sure that it is the one that actually gives combo damage as its main stat. And I tried to get something that actually gives global combo damage. This is not my best one. I would like to replace it when I get the chance. But right now it's the best one that I have because I do want to make sure that the main stat is combo damage. And of course, I'm going to talk about this later, but I also want to make sure that the set bonuses are the ones that I'm looking for, which I'll get to in a bit. The fifth one, you can see again, global combo damage is my focus again. The primary stat I'm doing here is basic attack damage, but that wasn't my focus in this one. It was just making sure that the set bonuses are what I want, and of course it gives me global combo damage. The sixth one, the main stat, was actually very important. I wanted to make sure that it was crit damage bonus as the main stat. The other thing that was important was making sure that the set bonus was exactly what I wanted. You can see that the rest of the secondary bonuses aren't really that cool. I don't need all that skill crit damage, but of course this was the best one that I had, so I'm using it for now. When it comes to the set bonuses, I want to make sure that I'm getting global crit damage of 10% by using 4 pieces of the global crit damage sets. This is probably one of the only places you can get global crit damage, so essential for you to get it here. The remaining 2, I use it to get the 5% global combo damage because, well, you do want global combo damage as well. Next up, the souls, and you can see that I am focusing on the global attack, which is of course level 50, so it is one of the highest priorities. Getting a bunch of combo damage from this one, which is again one of my high priority items, and crit damage bonus, again a very high priority. You can see that I also focused a little bit on basic attack damage, and this is something that some people don't agree with. They think basic attack damage is not that helpful. I still want to build it up because I am building a little bit of global basic attack, so I think it can help, but I'm not entirely sure. And of course I do get the global health and global defense to a decent level because it's helpful as well. What I'm not focusing on is the crit rest bonus as well as the counter damage. Now going over to the back accessories, I try to level these up as much as possible because they do give a bunch of base stats relatively cheaply. Now I try to level them up fairly evenly, so you can see once I get to level 71, I'm starting to level up one of them to level 81, then I'll go to level 81 on the other 2. When we go to the special back accessories, I think that the Alien Dimension is pretty helpful. It actually helps block 30% of final damage and increases your attack speed, energy regeneration speed, pal attack speed by 24%. Now of course the effects get reduced every 12 seconds, but I think this is very helpful. As you can imagine, attack speed means you attack more often and you can do a lot more damage, especially with your Panda artifact. So this is the primary choice in my opinion. If you don't have that and have this one, you could use this as well. It does increase your combo damage, which is nice to have as well. When it comes to talents, I first try to get each of the base stats to level 15 because they do give a pretty nice boost in your base stats, and a very heavy focus is on the archery stream. So I did try to get this one first, giving me a boost in crit damage, but then after that my focus was essentially getting this, the crit damage bonus to 300%, this one, the combo damage to 500%, this one here, a base attack speed of 0.2. This one here, a combo damage of 500%. And then if you go to Fury, there's this here that gives 300% crit damage. These were my priorities, and then of course I went for this one, allowing me to get a few more base stats in the one above. Once I had already gotten all those and all the other streams were also giving me the base stats that I needed, I started increasing the base stats from 15 to 17 while also getting a little bit of evasion from this stream as well. So focus was on getting crit damage and combo damage because that actually gives a nice boost to my final stats. You can take a look at my basic attack multiplier, 4300%, my combo multiplier, 34,598%, and my crit damage, 7,241%. Reasonably high numbers, especially for someone who's not loading a lot of money in the game. When it comes to the avians, the thing that I was focusing on was getting a bunch of global combo damage. So you can see here, I have 4 of these passive stats giving me global combo of 13% here and global basic attack of 10.4%, which I think this is one of the best ones out there. You get combo and global basic attack, why not? This one here giving me a 13% global combo. This one giving me 19.5% global combo and reducing my skill crit damage, which I really don't care about much. And this one is giving me basic attack damage of 312%. If I could, I'd like to get another global combo or just combo damage, but of course it's really hard to get the ones that you're looking for. And the star array stuff is fairly new. I don't have a lot of these available yet, but if I were to I'd try to get this dragon. It does seem to have a nice ability of dealing 5% of basic attack damage as an area effect damage, and it can be crit, which is pretty cool, and then also does a little bit of damage based on the current HP of the enemy. I don't know when I'm actually going to get one of these, but that is what I am targeting for. Finally, when it comes to the tech perk, I try to focus on getting a bunch of attack first, and then of course health and then defense. That being said, each of the base stats are pretty important, just that attack seems to be the best one for Plume Monarchs because, well, you are a pretty deadly damage dealer, so you need to build on that first. And since I still have you here, I want you to know that you can save a lot of money in the Legend of Mushroom and take your account to the next level. The steps are very simple, just follow the video that I'm linking to the description of this video, or you can click that button that's going to appear at the top part of the screen that'll take you to that video. We're talking 10 to 35% cash back each time you make a purchase in the game. Imagine how far that can take you, or basically save you a lot of money in the long run. If you have any questions, join our Discord and I can guide you through the process personally. A lot of big spenders are taking advantage of this and they are ever grateful, and I hope you join in as well, because not only are you going to save a lot of money, you'll actually be helping our channel as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please like it. Please comment below. Let me know which class you want me to do next, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you.